Good morning, and thank you for joining us. This is our CS-Sensei weekly cybersecurity mentorship webinar. I'm getting good at saying that. So we have mentors and mentees on the line today from, well, let's see, Melanie, what area of the nation are you from?
I live outside of DC. I'm in Northern Virginia.
Okay. And Ron, you're in Maryland, right?
Yeah, at the moment. I'm either in DC or Southern Maryland.
Okay. All right. You're still trying to get those jobs down at Pax River?
I kind of been taking a break, but I should probably get on it again.
Okay. All right. I think it's good. I mean, the Navy does need those types of jobs, so they probably have some local IT and cybersecurity folks. So if it's close to you, I would shoot for it. Anyway, so I am going to start by, let's see, what am I sharing? This. And first of all, this is my my plea to you. For anybody that has not yet signed up to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do. We are at 94 subscribers. When we break 100, then I can change the name from @itsrhetorical9164 to something like Cybersecurity Sensei. So I have to have 100 subscribers before I can change the name. So please help me by going out there and subscribing. Oh, by the way, in the chat, do you guys see the link for the workforce framework? I dropped it in there before you all arrived. Do you see it there? If not, I'll put it there, but you see it in chat, Ron, Melanie?
No, I don't see anything.
I saw it in the Facebook group.
No, that, okay, there's a YouTube video, and here's what we're going to be talking about today when we get to it. So I'll drop these both in the chat, and drop them both in the chat. Sorry, I'm kind of only using one hand today. I have a bulging disc, and it's causing my movements for my right hand to be a bit painful, so I'm doing everything with my left. My mouse with my left hand, imagine that. So anyway, how was your week? Anything go on for you guys that you wanted to share and talk about? Something you saw or something you did? Anybody? Cybersecurity related?
Nothing too exciting. I kind of jumped back into Security Plus. I've been doing some studying for Network Plus for the past few weeks, but I jumped back into Security Plus, and I'm kind of going through cryptography and different types of blocks methods, and he's talking about asymmetric and symmetric. It's
right.
A little bit confusing, but I think I should be able to get it.
Okay. A knowledge and I would say a working knowledge of symmetric and asymmetric cryptography is very important as you are going into this career field, because it allows you to understand that certain methods of encryption and validation will only work in certain circumstances. In other words, you can't use the same thing everywhere. And so as a result, you have to be aware of both. And oh, by the way, in case you haven't learned it yet, remember we talked about quantum computing and how it has the ability to basically break cryptography ciphers? Well, we didn't go any further, but quantum cryptography, or I'm sorry, quantum computing can only be used on one of those two cryptography methods. Symmetric or asymmetric, one of those two is vulnerable to quantum, but the other one is not. So just something to think about when people talk about quantum computing and how it's going to change the career field. It will decrease the emphasis on one of those two. I don't remember which, but then it'll increase the emphasis on the other. So that's why they're coming up with what they call post-quantum cryptography. And that's a big deal if you're interested in studying for it. Post-quantum cryptography. All right, Ron?
Yeah, look it up.
All right. Good stuff. And you have to know about it. You really do. Like the difference between HTTP on your browser and HTTPS. That's cryptography. If you think about it, that's cryptography. So, all right, good news. Melanie, do you have anything this week? Anything else you wanted to share, Ron? I'm sorry.
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Melanie?
I didn't. My week was not too eventful in terms of cybersecurity. I watched a couple Security Plus videos, but that was about it.
Okay. Where do you get the videos?
Professor Messer.
Yep, he's good.
Yep.
He's good.
I have well, my boyfriend already took the Security Plus, so he got Jason Dion's Udemy course, so I'll do that once I finish with the Professor Messer videos.
Nice. And Ron, you mentioned Network Plus. I think Chris would agree with me, and he'll come on and share anyway, but I think Chris would agree with me that if I were to point out the second certification that I would recommend the mentors get, it would be Network Plus. Because so much of what we do deals with the interconnectedness of systems. In other words, how does my phone work on a Wi-Fi for my house that ends up getting to a server in, Poughkeepsie, New York? How does that happen? Well, that's the networks. And the more you know about that, the better. It makes things easier. Like Ron, when you're talking about your Security Plus and symmetric and asymmetric cryptography, imagine an organization or an enterprise where every byte that traveled around your network was encrypted, which is a very secure way of doing it. But what does that mean? How do you do that? You don't just walk over and flip a switch that says, turn my encryption on. There's much more to it than that. So I would agree. Security Plus, absolutely. There is no getting around the need to start at the Security Plus level, unless you're really, really hot at this and you go straight for your CISSP. After that, I would totally recommend Network Plus as a certification to get, because it helps you understand how these systems work together. So yeah, very, very good approach. So Melanie, keep at it. I think you're on the right track. Now, you do know that I think the Security Plus for Professor Messer is something like 91 videos. So
yep.
But it covers entirely the Security Plus study guide. It is mapped after the Security Plus study guide. If you go through Professor Messer and you understand and you maybe do one or two of his live study sessions, because he actually conducts live study sessions. 177. All right, thanks, Marcus. It was a bunch. I knew that. But when you go through and complete that, you can feel confident that you're going to pass your Security Plus exam. That is an extremely great approach. You do Professor Messer until you can, say the same stuff he does. And oh, by the way, a lot of people think about this way. They say, if I don't learn it the first time, I'm going to have trouble learning it. So they go through all the videos, and then they go back and they say, which one didn't I remember? Which one did I have trouble with? Well, my suggestion is to find the videos that you have difficulty with. Like perhaps, Ron, you were talking about symmetric and asymmetric cryptography. There's probably a Professor Messer video on that. What you do is you put it on, and you put it on to run over and over and over again. So you may get to a point where you more fully understand, but you absolutely will reach a point where you remember. And that is probably enough to get you to pass your exam and get you into the career field. So that's another method of study. I can remember when I was going for my amateur radio licenses. There are 3 levels of amateur radio license. Technician, I think it's called intermediate, and then advanced. Well, the advanced study was pretty heavy. It was 6 CDs of work. And so what I did was I bought the 6 CDs and played them on my drive to and from work every day. I just played them. Same guy saying the same things over and over and over and over and over again, and I passed my first time. Yes, I did study along with that, but I was also hammering it into my memory to where when I saw something on the exam, it brought it back to my memory. So that is another method. Just repetition. There's something that you may learn over time. There's something out there called laws of learning. Laws of learning. And it basically says this law applies. And some of the laws are what you heard last is most easily remembered. Okay. But another one is what you heard the most is most easily remembered. So one of the laws of learning says repetition works for learning things. So just my suggestion. Anything else, Melanie?
No, that's it. I plan on, because for the A+, I did a combo of I did Messer's videos. I bought Jason Dion practice exams, and then the Professor Messer exams, and I just did all of those, and I just kept taking the practice exams until I was getting like 90% or above, and then I'm not gonna lie, I did not pass my A+ the first time, either section, but I made sure that like when I was doing the retakes that I was getting over 90% on the Jason Dion exams. So I'm gonna do that same thing this time for Security Plus.
Smart. Yep. So long as you have an approach to doing this, you don't do it haphazardly. If you actually focus on a plan, then you greatly increase your chances of being successful. Don't just say, yeah, I might do a little study. Carve out time, make time for yourself, because what you're doing is you are giving to you, because in the end, you're going to get yourself a fabulous career out of this. It's like, why do I go to this college economics class? Because I'm shooting for a degree. While you're sitting in your economics class, you're listening to the teacher going, boring. Okay, but you're doing it for the degree. Same thing with what we're doing here. You're working on your certifications because you want that cybersecurity job. So think about your end goal, and it'll help keep you focused and enthusiastic. So good, good, good. Marcus, do you have anything to share about your week? How it went?
My week was fine. I did some more studying for security class. I'm down to about 30 videos left now.
Mm-hmm.
My girlfriend, she actually sent me some spam that came to her phone. I also had to put it in on FTC. But outside of that, that's about it.
Okay, very good. And thank you for sharing about that with the FTC. That is another opportunity you guys have to take advantage of that. All three of you did something in September, and I really appreciate you doing that. I'm going to share about that in a little while. One of you might be our top analyst for the month. So we'll talk about that. The other thing that I would suggest to you to think about is in your daily life and work. Right now, you're just talking about, I did this study or whatever. Once you get practiced at this, you're going to start walking into any environment and recognizing the cybersecurity implications of what you're seeing or hearing from other people or a movie that you watch or those sorts of things. You're going to start looking at things with a cybersecurity lens. And that's a good thing because it starts to help you realize that cybersecurity exists throughout our modern day society. We can't escape it. And so let's embrace it. Let's surf the wave of cybersecurity and become specialists at this so that we take advantage of this thing that interests us. So I appreciate that all three of you are working on studying and that sort of thing. The other thing that I would like you to keep an eye out for is, I saw this video the other day, or hey, I was watching this movie, or I was talking to my mom, like Marcus, you said, my girlfriend sent me spam. That's not anything except she knows that you're working on cybersecurity. She knows that you're doing incident response, and she knows that you wanted her to do that. All of that comes from you first. So you've been talking about it, and that's great. That's absolutely great, because like I mentioned, one of the things that will happen with you is that you're going to become resident experts to your spheres of influence. And you're never going to learn everything. You're never going to walk into a room and be the only person that knows stuff. There may be others as well. And the bad news is some people really enjoy putting people down by how much they know. I don't want our people to start doing stuff out of pride. Do it because you're interested. Do it because you want to help. Do it because you want to make a difference. Marcus, you want your girlfriend to experience decreased spams. And that's why you're doing this. And oh, by the way, you get experience for your resume. Have the right attitude when you're doing these things as well. So appreciate that. Chris, did you have anything to share from this week?
For me?
Yeah.
I have been focusing on making sure the software tickets were down at work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of those people blessed to have the IT support experience background for the next level. I do have an interview for a promotion Thursday.
Do you?
And yes, HR is scheduling with the different branch chiefs in the ITOS divisions. From what I understand, it's a project manager job that I'm backfilling for another colleague that left about half a year ago. But there could be other positions filled within that position, within that our little division, ITOS division. And just, I would appreciate good thoughts or prayers for me on that part. Other than that, I've been listening to Gerald Auger's Simply Cyber podcast just to keep up with the news in the industry. And really helps with the networking, professional networking especially, just to get to know more people in the industry. Highly suggest that to the mentees here to listen to his channel. If not, just definitely the CISO podcast. That will keep you up to date with the news and would help you with your homeworks in the end. And then learning-wise, I am finishing up reading the ISC squared Systems Security Certified Professional, SSCP, migrating over to CISSP. I'll have my 5 years in the industry in July, so probably will sit for that test around that time.
That is excellent. Thank you for bringing that up, Chris. That's another resource that people don't realize you can plug into for free. In the space between whatever you're doing. Chris, you mentioned what did you call your podcast you listen to?
It's called the CISO podcast. I'll put the link in the chat.
Okay. And I will share. I don't go to the really deep stuff. I try and look for things that have may have interest to even somebody who's not aware of what the cybersecurity career field is. So, thank you. I'm really looking for stuff that I can share so people can get interested in cybersecurity. But there's this one that I use, and I don't think it focuses very well, but it's called Cybersecurity Today. And it's by IT World Canada, the guy that actually does it. And it's very light, but it's loaded full of statistics. For example, he says, do any of you remember the, what was it called? The latest compromise that has been going on for several months because of the server compromise. I forget what it was called. But there's actually a cloud server application out there that was found to be vulnerable months ago, and people still haven't finished patching for it. And the last I heard, there were over 1,000 compromised organizations, including people like your local banks, that have had their client information compromised because they were using an unpatched piece of cloud software. I forget what it was called. Do you remember, Chris?
I remember too.
Yeah. But anyway, over 1,000 compromised organizations. And every week on this podcast, this guy says, this week, a few more people admitted that their client data had been compromised. Oh, and there's something else that you have to realize. When these compromises are announced, they are not new. Let me put this into perspective, because we did this at the Department of Labor during not Petya back in 2017. The first thing you have to do is identify it and contain it, then figure out how far it got into your organization, figure out what was compromised, figure out what, if anything, was exfiltrated, and then you do your report. You do not report stuff as breaking news. A break-in is underway in our environment. No, none of these organizations announce this in real time. It sounds like real time, but it's only after they've closed plugged the holes and fixed the vulnerabilities and determined what was compromised before they announce it in a report. So there's always this, sometimes many months lag between the actual occurrence and their report that it occurred. So it's scary because a lot of people are like, hey, did you hear what happened with, U.S. Bank? Yeah, that happened in November of last year. If you read the articles and listen to the podcasts, you realize that what we are hearing on the news is really operationally old news. It only comes out after they've cleared everything up and they have to admit this was the damage that was done. So just realize that. When they say, Target announced that they were hit, well, yeah, they were announced that they were hit. They did not announce that they were hit 6 months ago. Oh, Simply Cyber. Yeah, cool. Thank you, Chris. So just something for you guys to think about. So I wanted to do our incident response team analytics for the month of September. Yeah, let's just jump straight into it. So I wanted to share that in the month of September, we have people who go into reportfraud.ftc.gov and report either their own or someone else's spam, phishing, or malicious emails or texts. You can actually do other things too. If somebody gets a phone call, if they get something in the mail, the FTC has space for all of that. So, go take a look at that. If, let's say, your mom hands you this card that says, are these people for real? You can look at it and you maybe do a little bit of research on it and say, no, Mom, they're not. You can actually report that to the FTC as well. So the important thing to remember is that bottom line, the only way that I can report on what you've done is if you put it into that report form. All right? Not just do you say I've done it. You have to say I've done it, then report to this group that you've done it. Okay? So here are the statistics. In September, we had 6 participants in the incident response team activities. There were a total of 30 reported sessions. In other words, you may have logged on and done 1, or you may have logged on and done 20. Those are 2 different sessions. All right? Just a total of 30 times our people reported that they had done these reports. Total of 165 incidents were reported to the FTC. That's a good number, and it can go much higher. As you get practiced at this, you're going to do more and more. You're going to get more and more from your family, friends, and neighbors. Your coworkers are going to say, hey, don't you do this thing? Yeah, I sure do. Send it to me, and I'll report it on your behalf, etc. So that 165 is a good starting number, but I expect it will grow tremendously over time. And total time spent, 16 hours, 35 minutes for this entire team. Okay? So, cool. Here were our participants this month. Ron, Melanie, Marcus, all 3 of you are on this call and did participate. So I can't praise you enough. You're doing the right things. You are pursuing a career in cybersecurity, and this is how you do it. And then, of course, my wife and I both got engaged as well. So let's ask yourself, who do you think was the top IRT analyst for the month? Was it you? Okay, I'll spare you the suspense. It was Twyla. Twyla filed the most number of reports for the month of September. We already contacted her and I sent her this certificate, but I also have, let me see if I can bring it up. I also have certificates for everybody else that participated, all right? I'm going to send those out to you separately, but I wanted you to know that we're not just sending out a certificate now for the top analyst. I'm going to do a certificate for every analyst for the month. All right, so you'll have it for your records. Now, The big question is, did any of you, the top analyst would have been one of them, obviously, but did any of you beat my numbers? You think? What do you reckon? Nobody. Why? Because I submitted 132 reports in September. 132. And I wasn't half trying. What you need to do is get into a mindset where, I don't know, you wake up in the morning and over your morning coffee, you check your email from mom and she says, hey, honey, I got this. Report it. Just go in, do the quick report, get out, put it on the report form and move on. I did this by doing 1 or 2 or 4 at a time. And it adds up over time. So you're all on the right track. You're all establishing yourselves as having experience as incident response analysts. That is something that goes in your experience block of your resume. All right? Good stuff. I'm very proud of all of you. This is the total listing of all the people that have participated in the IRT incident response team so far. I hope to have many pages of this after a while. We're going to get to a point where we're going to have so many mentees, we're going to have to split this into groups. One of the mentors is going to focus specifically on incident response. One of the mentors may focus specifically on the Speakers Bureau. One of the mentors may focus specifically on these weekly webinars. I think that's where we're going to go. But you need to share with others about this program. Please. The more people are engaged, the more fun it becomes and the easier it becomes. So I appreciate when you share with others and help them get smarter too and get great jobs. So this is just my words to you. I'm very proud of all of you for the work that you're doing, not only working toward your Security Plus, I heard that in you guys, but also you're doing incident response team work. You're on the right track. And you come into these webinars weekly. You are doing what is needed to be successful. And I'm proud of you for doing that. So congratulations. My congratulations to each of you for doing that. Anything to talk about from that yet so far? Okay, fair enough. The next thing I wanted to share about is called the Workforce Framework for Cybersecurity. It sounds pretty boring, but here's what is good about it. In your resume, you mentioned that you do certain things. And let's just use Analyze as an example. These are the 7, what are they called? 7 categories for the NIST framework. In fact, I have a graphic. Yeah, I just did the same thing here. These are the categories: analyze, collect and operate, investigate, operate and maintain, oversee and govern, protect and defend, and securely provision. Now, just right off, many people, when they think about cybersecurity, only think about this one in pink, protect and defend. But that is not true. It takes skills throughout here, and you may have no skills in protect and defend, and yet still have a very successful career in cybersecurity. What this is trying to point out is it takes a variety of skills to operate what someone would consider to be a cybersecurity environment, an organization, a team, a division, or whatever, you need people with all of these skills. Not one person with all of them, but certain people are good at analyzing, certain people are good at operating, certain people are good at provisioning, those sorts of things. So I think this is really fun. I sent you the link to this, but let's take a look at Analyze. And these are the things that the National Institutes of Science and Technology have identified with industry partners as being the things that make up a cybersecurity environment. All source analysis, exploitation analysis, language analysis, targets, threat analysis. Threat analysis is a big deal. Why do you have to, how do I say this? If my organization had prepared themselves properly back in 2017, we would not have been hit by the NotPetya ransomware. But as it happened, we were. So threat analysis and then maybe training or, making sure everything's patched, et cetera, those aren't glamorous things that you do in cybersecurity, but they're absolutely essential. So what you probably should do is go into this framework and look at all of these specialty areas and say, how many of these can I describe or claim in my resume? Because these are the things that are going to be in the job vacancies. We'll start by going through this and saying, this is what a cybersecurity career is going to include. Maybe not all of them. I don't do all of them, and I've been doing this for 33 years. So take a look at it and say, how many of these can I say I already do or I have done? And they may not be, here's one, customer service. This is a very common, not always, but it's a very common entry point into cybersecurity. And it says you address problems. You install, configure, troubleshoot, and provide maintenance and training. You provide initial incident information to the incident response specialty. Why? Because you say, hey, our phones are going crazy because people can't get into Exchange, for example. You become the point of notification sometimes. In many organizations, Chris, you can probably validate this, but in many organizations, the first word of a problem does not arrive from your systems telling you. It arrives from you suddenly getting a surge in call center calls because your clients are reporting an issue. And all of a sudden, they're all reporting the same issue. Hey, I can't get into my VTC software. Hey, I can't get on the VPN. Hey, my system reboots and all I have now is a blue screen. Those sorts of things. And you'll notice it becomes a trend very quickly. Very quickly. So what do you need to do? Jump on the phone and notify. That's what cybersecurity customer service does. And oh, by the way, Melanie and Marcus, because I know both where you guys work, you can blame me for your role-based training that you have to do every year for security. Blame me, because I'm the one that specified that it was necessary for people even in the call center to do this. because of this reason. ESD, the service desk, was not included in role-based training. And I called up the people who conduct the training.
Scotty, I'm going to change your language. Don't say blame me. Say thank you.
Yeah, thank me.
County has experience, by the way, Melanie and Marcus.
Yep. Put down that training as being your cybersecurity training. Role-based training that you take every year is your annual cybersecurity training. Role-based training. Yep. And it was me that put it in place for you. Yeah, and I say blame me because, oh, I got to do another training. But yeah, you're right, Chris. Thank me for it. So there's nothing wrong with starting in customer service. Nothing at all. Look at, man, I'm having trouble with names this morning. Chris, Baltimore, hospital.
Johns Hopkins.
Right, but I mean, which of our mentees is there now?
Tobias?
No, mentees.
Mentees.
I forgot.
Oh, Harminder.
Yeah, Harminder. What you guys may not know is Harminder was one of our early mentees here. When he first started attending our webinars, he was a baker. Now he's working in their service desk, and he just mentioned recently that he's doing part-time work on their cybersecurity team because he expressed an interest to them, and they were like, yeah, sure, we can find room for you here. So he's getting paid to do their service desk stuff, but he is training to move into their next vacant cybersecurity slot. And he started as a baker. Okay, so you can get into this career field any one of a number of different ways, but this is one of the main ways to do it. Start at the service desk, move up. And oh, by the way, if they don't know you're interested, then they're going to pass you by. Harminder talked to his cybersecurity folks and said, hi, I'm a cybersecurity mentee. They're like, oh, really? And then he started talking to them, and they started talking to him. And the next thing you know, they're offering him part-time work with their team. When they have a vacancy, who do you think, or they get to additional funding, who do you think they're going to choose? They're already training him to go into that position just because he indicated that he was interested and he said he was a mentee here. So don't undersell yourself. Please, on your experience blocks, always put that you're a mentee, a cybersecurity mentee. It may sound like a little thing, but it's not. It's really important. It's really valuable for you because you're doing it for free. You're not getting paid, but you're still learning. That's a big deal. Okay, so go through these categories, compare them to your resume, and see if you can pull some of these out because it may be helpful for you. Well, any one of them, but collect and operate, for example. Execute collection using appropriate strategies and priorities in the collection management process. Well, you may collect other stuff too that has a relevance to cybersecurity. Or not. You're just learning that you already do collection. Hey, we do data collection. Okay, put that you do data collection for, it doesn't matter. Data collection for our homeowners association. Data collection for, you know, my bakery. Data collection for, it doesn't matter. See what I'm saying? There, you can point out that you have skills that can be immediately used in these jobs. All right. Thank you, everybody. That was a good share. I hope you got a lot out of this. I was pretty impressed when I started to go through and look at these specialty areas, and I said, you know, that looks like a resume bullet.
Hey, Scotty?
Yes.
Can you click on where it says cyber investigation? I think I've been to this website before, and I want to see if they did anything with that. Aha! Abilities, knowledge, skills, and task. And on the right-hand side,
look at that.
If you scroll up, Scotty, on the right-hand side, they give you a list of courses to take if you're interested, if you don't have those skills.
Including Security Plus. Very good. Yep, CYSA, we talked about that one. Pen Test Plus, yeah. Look at these. How many of these are going to map to your Security Plus? Let me try and make this a little bigger so you can look at it. How many of these are going to map to your Security Plus knowledge areas? Bunch of them. Bunch of them. So yeah, great stuff. And you don't know about it if you're not looking for it. Very good. That's excellent, Chris. I was just impressed by this because I saw, oh, let me make it smaller now. I was impressed by this because it showed stuff that I thought could map very easily to resumes. But yeah, you pointed out this goes much deeper. Great stuff. Okay, that was all I wanted to do. Again, I'm begging and pleading that we can get 6 more subscribers to the YouTube video or YouTube channel. If so, I can name the channel. Help a brother out, would you? All right, that's all I have. Please remember to do the IR team. In fact, I will put it into our chat. I think all three of you are already doing this. So keep it up. And maybe you will be the top analyst. Now, there's always going to be a top analyst every month, and it's not going to be a mentor. I did, what, 132, and I'm not the top analyst. My analysts are always going to be mentees. So one of you will be awarded this every month. The rest of you, you're going to get your participation certificates. In fact, let me see if I can load them into the chat. And you'll get a certificate if you beat the boss. So why don't you give it a try? Let's see if I can get this into the chat. Okay. Drop files here to send. There you go. Everybody enjoy your certificate. Please download it. I think you can just click on it and save it locally. If you can't download it from here, just send me an email and I will drop it into you that way. But I hope you guys enjoy this. I have great fun knowing that I'm helping to build the cybersecurity workforce. And oh, by the way, people with the right attitude to do this. Because you've got to have that white hat attitude. You've got to be working to make this world a better place. Otherwise, you're just a techie. Whoops. You're just a techie. And if you're just a techie, you could end up becoming a black hat if you get mad at somebody or whatever. You start using your skills for the wrong reasons. I want everybody here to understand that one of the most valuable things you can offer when you go into an interview is your integrity. You haven't yet built a reputation, but you can show them your integrity. I'm doing this for free. I'm doing this on my own. I'm doing this because I want to make a difference. All of that is valuable stuff to a prospective employer. They're going to look at somebody who comes out of school and says, I've got a degree in cybersecurity, and I was on, this penetration team, and I got these top honors, and, I'm really good technically. That's all they can come up with. You can say, I got my Security Plus certification. I've been a cybersecurity mentee for the last X number of months or years. I'm an incident response analyst, and I do this all on a volunteer basis because I want to make a difference. Who would you hire? It really jacks up your attractiveness to a prospective employer. They suddenly go, we had a techie, lasted 4 months, went somewhere else. We had a techie. He got so disruptive to the other technicians that we had to fire him. We had a techie, and he got me in such hot water that I had to go talk to the customers personally about my people, bad-mouthing them. That's what the technical side has a risk of, that you remove that risk when you say, I'm already working as a good person. There's great value in doing that. So please keep working toward being that white hat. You can't get all the skills immediately. Work toward that Security Plus. Network Plus is a great way of doing it. A Plus, I heard Melanie, you're working on that. Those are all excellent base level certifications. And that's where everybody should be working. And also work incident response analyst so that you can put in your experience, your cybersecurity mentee, that you attend these webinars and you participate in our Facebook group, etc. It all adds up. So I appreciate every one of you. I think you're on the right track, and I'm going to be very pleased when you show me your new job and come in here and go, I got it.
Hey, Scotty,
yeah.
Last minute question for you.
Okay.
How has your week been? And what are you learning right now?
Oh, well, like I mentioned, a lot of the stuff that I do, okay, yes, I participated in the cybersecurity committee for the Arizona Tech Council. We're getting ready to put on a something at the Tucson Convention Center in 2 weeks. Sadly, I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. Doing a capacity management class, so I'm going to miss that thing with cybersecurity. But there's a number of the folks there that already know me. I connect in and they're like, hey, Scotty, how's it going? They know that I'm the mentor here at the Arizona Tech Council. So the whole state recognizes me as being a mentor. When I go into places and talk to people, I say, do you know anybody who might be interested in a great career in cybersecurity? And they look at me and I say, I'm a nationwide mentor. There are over 100 people in my program, and I want to make it 200. So yeah, that's my week. When I got my hair cut yesterday, I left cards with the lady. She said, I know a couple people who might be interested. Great, send them our way. We'd love to have them in the program. That's what I do. So I'm out there cheering for you guys. We all want to make a difference. So I appreciate you all. Thank you, Chris. Have a great weekend. This is a long weekend for anybody that's involved in the federal government. So enjoy your Indigenous Peoples Day off. Used to be called Columbus Day, but now it's Indigenous Peoples Day. So y'all have a great weekend, and we'll talk later, I'm sure. Take care, everybody.
Yep. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Bye all.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye.